Good morning. It's daylights or the end of daylight savings time here in the US on Mountain Time. And I was really organized this morning. I had extra time, and then I changed the direction of what I wanted to talk about today. So I had to postpone it a little bit. And I'm pretty excited about what we're going to talk about. So, the topic for today is that the skies are talking to us, they're speaking to us, right? And so let's start with what we usually do, and then I'm going to take you in a direction that I think I've been waiting months, maybe years to go. So buckle up because here we go. Okay, so the sun looks quiet. Really, if you look at it, solar flares are at a C1, mild surface level, even went to like a B9 green for the first time on the solar charts. And I was like, what the heck is that? And yet the Earth's surface is vibrating like a struck bell. We can feel it. We can feel it in our bodies. The Schumann charts have been off the charts with the Schumann resonance has been off the charts with these huge white waves and these sort of figures walking through. If you look at Susan Inspired, or you look at Mr. B33, they talk about it looks like outlines of humans walking forward in the gold of the Schumann resonance. I thought that was fascinating, right? So something deeper is moving, and it's totally like different than what we know. And we've been tracing these making these dots in Patreon, in my discussion groups, in the conversations I'm having. And so what I want to do today is link both this really strange broadcast that came in 1977, the arrival of the indigo frequency, and the three-eye atlas that is currently, you know, causing all sorts of interest and havoc within our solar system, right? So I'm going to start first. So, like I said, buckle up, because the first thing I want to tell you is that in 1977, on November 26th, Southern Television, which is a branch of the BBC in Southern England, was suddenly overtaken. The video stayed the same, but this metallic voice came in and broadcast for 6 minutes straight, right? And the voice said, "This is brilliant, a representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command. We come to warn you of the destiny of your race and your world. Lay down your weapons, live in peace, and enter a higher state of being that awaits you." And then it was gone. There was no source ever found. There was nothing. The engineers called it a hoax. The sensitives were like, this is the first global contact that we've had, this frequency transmission, because it had a lot of frequency with it that could be felt, right? It was like a tuning fork that struck the Earth's magnetic field and opened a doorway for a new kind of human that was already arriving. So let's go to the indigo seeding. So the same year, mid 1977, on forward and continuing on today, children arrived who were seeded with a cobalt blue code, and they began entering the earth in ways that had never been seen. I will call it in mass, huge amounts from 1977 forward. These were indigos who held the frequency of truth and justice, right? They are energetic dismantlers. They dismantle calcified systems, institutions, government, schools, religion, sciences, everything that has lost integrity with what aligns with the human divinity, the human spirit, right? They came in with fierce, empathic, psychic skills, unwilling to lie, unwilling to yield, wired to the sense of dissonance that was there, and finding it everywhere they went. So I wrote, those of you who followed me, you know that I wrote this book in 2021 and published it in 2022, right? So what I want to tell you that's in this book is that this seeding came with a great cost, a phenomenal cost. These souls entered dense bodies during a time when the planet's atmosphere, their food, their water was beginning to be filled with synthetic additives, human attempts to dull the very capacities, right, that the indigos were bringing in by design. There was a strategic decision to seed our planet with frequencies that was known by both the galactics and those who held power on our earth. And all of these synthetic additives, whether it's food coloring, whether it's um, inoculations, whether it is medical treatment, whether it is in our water. These are attempts to bring the indigo frequency down. So, what happened were those of us who came, right, as indigos, were initiated by toxicity. And it was toxicity in their family systems, toxicity in their physical environment, in their schools, in every place that you would look to for support, right? So I want to tie in that Gregg Braden did this interview. I forgot to cite who it was with, where he puts it really plainly that there's a context for our human divinity because the body itself is an instrument that translates energy, translates source, right? So divinity, he says, is simply the ability to transcend perceived limitation. So if we lose contact with that capacity, we believe we can't heal ourselves. We don't imagine, we don't create, we don't innovate. We become manageable. We become someone that can be herded, someone that can be boxed in and controlled. When we inhabit our body fully, and this is what we've been talking about for weeks and months with the last 2 years of these solar flares and the energy that we're feeling, right? Is that our broadcast can't be jammed. We become transmitters. And so what I was looking at is here within the Osho. This is the priestess, and this is where you can see how the transmission is received and how it is put out. Here's the light years version of the same thing. I love pairing that with the way that the Ace of Wands shows that the pineal gland is alive and awake and vibrant, right? And the 20 out of 21 on the major arcana is that the pineal gland is awake in all of our chrysalis, all of our skill sets, all of this starts to come into form, and we explode into this vibrant new being, right? So what I want to do is take a little stretch. Of course, I do little stretches here and there, and tie this into 3i Atlas because I'm going to connect that signal that came has the same frequency as 3i Atlas, right? So on October 30th, Thursday, a body. We're just going to call it a body because we don't know if it's a comet, an asteroid, a ship, or just a plasma frequency, right? Is that 3i Atlas reached the closest alignment to the sun, right? Came in and it went behind the sun or out of our view. And then it kind of changed directions and actually showed that it could navigate, which I thought was kind of interesting, right? And the astronomers are calling it a comet. The sensitives are calling it frequency carriers. The tri-band transmission of information, integration, and illumination. So what we're seeing is that this frequency carries information, integration, and illumination. Illumination like this, right? And it arrived exactly as the sun hit its yearly power maximum and the earth reached its maximum peak. This was precision. Here's the sun putting out the most powerful, here's the earth being most receptive, and here comes 3i Atlas of all times on October 30th. So many of us can feel that this is sort of a reply from 1977, that tone. It's a return pulse that completed the loop between cosmic intelligence and human embodiment. It's like, whoa, it feels the same. The connection's there. So I'm the one. I'm not saying anybody else is. I'm the one who's saying 1977 Indigo's 3i Atlas is connected. And I want to keep exploring this because I think it's fascinating, right? So what entered through television now travels through plasma and magnetism. This may be the same pulse that if you listen to Lee Harris's November update, he went totally esoteric. Like I've never heard him talk in the tones about the specifics that he talked about this month as in previous years. And I think I've followed him since he started. So please go watch that and take notes and write down what he specifically is talking about. Because the reason the world feels like it's molting, it's shifting, it's changing right now. So let's go to a couple of the points of Lee Harris that I wanted to talk about. So the first one is that he says that we are becoming a multidimensional chrysalis. We are dying to our old ways and we are becoming something new, something sparkly, something with an essence that is fascinating, and the pieces are falling into place, right? And what multidimensional chrysalis means is that things are happening fast everywhere all at once, which goes back to the message I had last week, everything all at once, right? And he notes that these magnetic miracles are happening, that our mind is releasing and our different intelligences are taking over. Um, and he talks about this is happening on a global healing sweep. And so you can, let's just sort of summarizing. I think he gave 9 points, but I want to specifically talk about the one number 6, which is revelations about human health. That it's a mirror of what Gregg Braden was talking about with his message on the Indigo assignment itself. We are learning how manipulation of the body, of our minds, and of our emotions has kept divinity offline, and how these light codes are recoding our system from the inside out. We're receiving plasma light codes, they're hitting us, and we are changing, we are morphing into beings that we didn't even know we were. And so there was this guy on Instagram, and I'll post it again, who gave like the 5 signs that you did a huge timeline jump. And the first thing he said, which I thought was interesting, is that food doesn't taste the same. And I thought, I know that one. Clothes I used to wear don't feel the same. The people I used to love to hang out with, I'm kind of like, meh, it's okay. And so, like, he talks about what happens when we're molting, when we're changing, right? So let's go to right now. Let's go to what's going on with the indigos right now. Because the indigos, those of us who have that truth and justice inside of us, those of us who are willing to not yield regardless of what happens, the carriers of truth, right, are here to break false structures. The current generation of the indigo crystal diamond hybrids are re-architecting, right? Is that a word? We are to re-architect, right? What is being cleared. And I don't really know that the indigos are really the designers or the architects. They're the dismantlers. They're the ones who come in with the wrecking ball. They're the ones who say, let's just remove it and let you build something that's beautiful in its place. You build a new world. So the crystals and the rainbows and the diamonds are here to take us forward. And I think it's just fascinating, right? So as 3-eye Atlas moves through our solar field, right, its crystalline tone activates the next octave of our mission, which is go from disruption, go from dismantling to design, from outrage and hurt and pain into orchestration. How do we start to symphonize with all that is possible on this earth? And from broadcast to embodiment. So we're not just getting information, we're fully holding it in our body, so that the body you stand in is a living receiver of a 48-year-long conversation between the earth and the stars. I really love that. So I have 6 tips for you. And before I go to those tips, what I want to do is remind you that we're playing with this all the time in our Patreon. And the Patreon numbers went up huge last week. So if you join a membership of $11 each month, you can come into the discussion group and be part of us as we're plotting out and saying, what are you seeing? What are you noticing? What do we want to put our fingers on and play with in order to understand where we're going and what's happening? So we read Lee Harris, we read Gregg Braden, we post all this stuff, and then we come in and we have our own perspective. So come join us if that works. Also, if you'd like to get a copy of this, it's on Amazon. The link's down below. Paperback is available, and it's also digitally available. So no hardback and no voiceover yet. And I'm working on a second one because I want to talk about the indigos now. So let's go. Enough with all that. Let's go over to the tips. So, 6 ways to hold the frequency and adapt to the skills of what's happening right now. So, number 1 is to anchor through breath and hydration. We've talked about this a lot, and it's more important than ever. And I always have a glass of purified water, like really good, healthy water, and I keep it with me because it keeps my whole body in balance, right? So we want to anchor through breath and hydration because the plasma codes move through water and air. We know this. The plasma codes need water in order to infiltrate in and integrate into our system. Every conscious breath calibrates our nervous system. Every glass of water turns our cells into crystalline receivers. So this is not about just breathing. It's about slow, conductive breathing that tells your field, I'm safe to integrate. It calms our nervous system. It says, we're going to be safe. We're okay. So start integrating now. I love that. Number 2, choose frequency over fear. Please, please, please choose frequency over fear. Because when your body trembles, your mind races, or the news spikes some adrenaline in you, or you get all huffy and puffy about friends that are or family issues, and you start to get disconnected or in reaction, right? And you got to pause and ask, what frequency am I feeding right now? What am I doing? Because indigos can transmute chaos by choosing coherence. Indigos can bring balance. We all can. Each of us, crystal, and we haven't even started with what's possible with the crystals. Fear scatters the light, truth brings it in and stabilizes it. So you hold your truth note even when others are dissonant. It makes sense, right? And it's a hard thing to do, but you choose your frequency over fear. Am I in fear? Am I in reaction? Ooh, come back to the frequency of what you want to hold. Makes sense. Number 3, simplify the physical field. Toxins, clutter, overstimulation, all of these things make the human instrument, our human instrument, foggy. So we simplify our food, our sound, our digital input. We lighten the additive load so that your body can decode the solar and Schumann data cleanly. So it can take the plasma in cleanly. The goal isn't purity, it's clarity. So we aren't going for a very restricted life. What we're going for is what creates clarity in our body, and how do we keep bringing that in so that we can stay in that centered, embodied place, right? You're going to hear this little frogginess in my voice. I've been playing a lot this week with my little 4.5-year-old who's got a massive throat cold, cough and congestion at this time. So I'm like, we're not going there. We're not bringing that in. Number 4, move energy daily. Movement keeps plasma currents circulating through the fascia and through the meridians. So whether it's you walk or you stretch or you dance or you hum, or in my case, you rake and you look around and you rake and you look around, right? Because physical motion turns frequency into chemistry and prevents energetic inflammation. So sometimes this inflammation is chemical based and sometimes it's energetic based. It's really an interesting thing. I've been working for the last 3 months with a cranial sacral, and it just keeps coming down to energetic inflammation all the time. So knowing that, now we know what to do. Move your energy daily, because when you're in doubt and you don't know what to do, move it and start to see, where is it tight? Where can I loosen it up? And how can I analyze where my energy centers are and what they're doing? Makes sense, right? Okay. Speak the truth aloud. Number 5. Indigos heal through the throat. Sort of funny that I've got all this throat issue and I'm talking about indigos, and I'm just going to make sure it happens, right? Because when you name what's real for you, when you name it calmly and cleanly and without proving something, you align your physical vibration with your soul code, right? So your voice and your ability to get to your throat. I don't even know if I have a throat piece. I don't. I didn't bring in a throat card. Is that what happens is it vibrates our soul code, and the sound is medicine, and the private affirmations and toning recalibrate our cells. It makes it so much more fun. So speak your truth aloud. Like I'm doing right now. I'm actually talking about, I've got so much information on indigos to bring you. And this is just the very beginning. And I've been sort of cautious this first one out. We'll see where it goes. Let me know if you want more down in the descriptions. Number 6, rest into the unknown, right? Lee Harris calls this that we're in this multidimensional chrysalis. So the chrysalis doesn't plan why it's falling apart. It just rests, and it holds this compassion for its unproductibility. It's compassion for its softness, for its stillness, because this isn't collapsing. It's an integrational timeline, and it needs all of our own compassion and self-compassion as we rest into the unknown, right? So take a deep breath with me. What began in a 6-minute voice in 1977 became a symphony moving through our human hearts. The indigos came to hold truth and justice. And it's the same frequency that's rising in all of us to live unprogrammed, sovereign, and divine. Three Eye Atlas isn't only above us, right? It's within us. It's shifting, it's magnetic, it's rewriting, it's DNA, it's opening compassion at a cellular speed. So our task is really simple. Stay embodied, stay truthful, stay kind. Because coherence isn't contagious. Because coherence is contagious. When we're aligned, when we're coherent in our body, we are that receiver that sends in everything, right? So thank you for holding the line, for watching this, for remembering who you are, and for letting this broadcast come into the body. I'll see you next Sunday, or I'll see you on Tuesday. Take care. Bye-bye.